All right, welcome to the first ever RetroCult Podcast, where we're going to talk about any and everything that gives us that nostalgic feel, from toys to movies to foods, games, anything from the 70s and 80s and maybe early 90s that brings back those things that really make us feel nostalgic. My name is Chuck, and I'm here with my partner Mac, and we have been hunting toys together for quite a few years now. Mac, how long have we been hanging out?
No, it's, since 2016, I think.
Okay, so coming up on 10 years here pretty soon,
Coming
which is
up,
going to be pretty
we're
awesome.
approaching that 10-year mark, that's right.
That's pretty cool, man. I didn't know it was. It seems like it's been a while, but then I start thinking about it. I'm not 100% sure how long it was though. So, but
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
actually, Laura she just shared with me today a photo, from memories on Facebook, of the first Christmas we all hung out together, and that was 2016.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty
And
cool.
I remember we went toy hunting that very night, because we ended up going to Walgreens looking
Yeah,
for those miniature Secret Wars and Superpowers
yeah.
action
I'm
figures.
kicking myself for not buying those superpowers, man. Like I remember going to get those, and I don't know why I talked myself out of them like I always do with toys. But
I
that's
still have them. I still
y-
have them.
yeah, those things are awesome, man. Maybe I'll find them at a toy show or something somewhere. It'd be pretty fun to do, and get those. But yeah, it's been 10 fun years. So yeah, again, my name's Chuck. I love hunting for toys. I especially love finding things that other people are looking for. And that's my thing. Anything that brings back nostalgia for me or anybody else, I really kind of get into it. What about you, Mac?
Yeah, my name's Mack, and I am mainly a comic book collector. I've been collecting comics since I was 6 years old. I actually, remember the first comic that I ever owned, was a copy of, Batman. My dad bought it for me, off the spinner rack at a little general convenience store. Now that's gonna be a deep cut. I don't even know if you'll remember Little General. Chuck. That was a little convenience store chain in Central North Carolina back in the '70s through the '80s. I don't think, then I think they were swallowed up by a bigger chain or something. But I used to go there all the time. I still remember the spinner rack. But I've expanded my collecting out as is typical to happen, into toys for sure. And I started, my toy passion started probably with the Star Wars toys. Those were the first That's the first toy line I can remember where I was actually looking for these toys. Like every before that, I loved toys. I had the Migos and anything superhero related, but when the Star Wars toys hit, that changed everything.
Yeah, that's definitely the Star Wars toys are what I first remember getting quite a few of when I was little. I'm sure I had things before that, because I had some Migos as well, but I think it was the Star Wars that really like stoked the collection fire in me, I guess, so to
Yeah,
speak.
that's me too, because that's like where I first started not just getting toys, but I started caring about, "Ooh, I need these figures to go with these other group of figures," or "I need this vehicle to go with these figures." Like, that is the first time I think I ever had where I had the collection mentality starting to go, and it just kinda took root from there. And
Yeah,
actually, like a great funny story, about pestering a K&K toy salesman during the summer of 1980 that we should do we should do an episode in the future about our funniest memories of toy collecting or comic collecting from when we were a kid. Because I've told this story to Laura 100 times. But I'll save that for another time.
I mean, I know the story and I love it. I've heard it a few times, and it's always fun to hear. So I enjoy listening to that story. But yeah, most definitely. So I know that for this first podcast, you and I had talked about, since the Christmas season is kind of still here. I know the day is past and all, and it's that time where you're sitting at home and you're playing with those toys that you got But you and I had talked about talking about the toys that we never got.
Yeah. Yeah, the toys we always wanted for Christmas and just never it just never happened, and, do you wanna start? Do you want me to go first?
No,
'Cause
I'll
I
let
know
you go ahead,
I
man. I
know
mean,
top of my mind.
I'd like to hear what you have to say and see if it sparks anything
Yeah,
for me.
the toy I always remember that was the biggest disappointment 'cause I had a couple of Christmases where I had the opportunity to get it, and no matter how much I put it on my list, Santa and my parents never came through for whatever reason on this one, and that's the, AT-AT from Empire Strikes Back. Um, I wanted that toy so much. It's kinda funny, I did end up with it kinda in that, Kenner also made a playset, um, for that had a cardboard AT-AT. And it had like a plastic snow base. It fit in with the other Hoth toys from that line. But so I just knew I was gonna get the AT-AT that Christmas, and I'm sure there was disappointment on my face when I opened it and it was the little cardboard 2D cardboard playset of the AT-AT. And, as it turned out, like I said, I put that on my list a couple of years in a row because I know they even redid it for, Return of the Jedi, but that one just never I guess that one was just too m my that one my parents probably must have just thought the price on that was a little too far, or, it could have been that there were other things on my list that I'm glad I got in, as well, like video games and things like that, and probably just the AT-AT just blew the Christmas budget.
Yeah, I don't know that I got a lot of like different things like the AT-AT from Star Wars. I had mostly figures. I don't think that I maybe had the land speeder, and that was about it as far as vehicles go. And I didn't have any of the other play sets. But yeah, I mean that would definitely be I would still like to get that today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's actually funny now as an adult in that I've seen the AT-AT around at a lot of shows and everything in great condition, fairly reasonable prices if you don't care whether it's in the box or not, which I don't. Um, but I actually don't. That's not a toy that today I feel like I've got to have it. Actually, believe it or not, the thing I really want is the cardboard playset that I had as a kid. There's a Star Wars dealer in our area. Um, We've been to his shop several times, and I know he actually has one in the box, one of the play sets in the box, and I've been tempted more than once to pull the trigger on that, and I think I will one day, 'cause, now it's a nostalgia thing. I was disappointed as a kid, but now I would love to have that Hoth play set again.
Yeah, there's definitely something about those toys that you had when you were younger, and getting those back and just being able to relive it as opposed to maybe something that you didn't have.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I got
The other
mine.
the other problem with the AT-AT is I really just don't know where I would display that nowadays. That thing, because it's such a huge toy. It
It
really
is.
is big.
Yeah, I mean, if I find it at a garage sale or a yard sale or one of those things that I go to and it's not expensive, I'm definitely not going to turn it down.
Oh, sure,
Um,
sure.
but yeah, I mean, having room for things, I understand. I think for me, I'm gonna go. I mean, I guess in a similar fashion, I'll kind of go pretty far back. I used to spend a lot of times with my cousins when I was young, and I would play with their toys. And my one cousin Andy had Daggett from Battlestar Galactica, and I
Oh,
thought that was the coolest action figure. And I was like, I really want that. And I don't know if me playing with that was too late to get it, or what, but I never was able to get Daggett. And it's funny, every time I talk to him, that's still the first thing that I bring up, and he still has it, which I think is pretty awesome.
that is awesome. I had some of the Battlestar Galactica action figures. I think I don't remember if I had the Daggett or not. Um, but that was a cool one. And that line, unfortunately, getting the show only lasted one season, uh, so I think that kinda killed the toy line too because, uh, that's one of those toy lines I wish, in some alternate universe where the show ran longer, I would love to see what that toy line turned into because I think I've shown it to you before. There even out online, um, like catalogs or like announcements for act that things Mattel was going to make for that line that never ended up getting made. And I just think that was a cool line to start with, but I think it would have been even cooler if it had gone on for longer than it did. And that could be what happened because, those I think those figures only were made maybe I think there are 2 series of the figures that might have covered 2 years, maybe, and then they just kinda disappeared. And, back in the day, all the department stores once a line was done, like, they clearance that stuff out, and once it was gone, it was just gone forever.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is about it. I mean, it was just like the first thing that I would run and grab when I got to his house, and I would go play with it. So that's for me. Um, One that I definitely wish I would love to find it. It doesn't have to be on card or anything. I would just love to have it. And you don't see those a whole lot when we go to these toy shows. There's just not a lot of them around. I see the Cylons, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Um,
but even yeah, I would say even the Battlestar Galactica figures in general from that time, I don't see a lot of, um, especially if you're looking for something like, I would love to collect those back on the card, you know, but they are just so expensive, all of them. Even the most common figure, like, on the card is probably a few $100 at least, and then I don't even know, like, you're now that you mention it, yeah, I can't say I've ever seen the Daggett figure at a convention or a show. So, who knows? Who knows what that thing costs?
I know that's definitely a top one for me. But yeah, I think that was where I got introduced to a lot of different toys that I probably never had was at my cousin's houses because they were so much older than I was, and
Yeah.
I'm sure the things that they had they just weren't around anymore. Um, so I don't know.
Do you remember a line of toys that came out in the early '80s? I wanna say it was called Starbird, but it was a spaceship. There were 2. There was a hero ship, which was a white spaceship, and it was bigger. There was an enemy ship that was smaller, but it was essentially laser tag built into these 2 spaceships because the cool feature with both of the toys was that once you turned it on, like, as you flew it around, like, how we all did as a kid where you're zooming it around your living room, it actually made engine sounds, and if you would point the nose down, it made the sound like the engines were like it was diving, and then if you pulled the nose up, it would sound like the engines were kicking in, and they'd get louder like you were climbing. But the coolest feature was that if you had someone else who had the other ship, you would literally push a button, there would be red lights that lit up on it, and if you hit the other ship, there would be an explosion sound, so that's the laser tag feature. Do you remember that at all?
I remember I remember the Captain Power toys where you could
Yeah,
shoot
now
at
those
the
were later.
TV
Those were like
and each other.
later '80s,
Yeah,
right?
but I don't remember the ones that you're talking about. Those sound pretty awesome.
Yeah, I should have, looked that up. That's another one, a friend of mine, yeah, it's from Milton Bradley. And it is called Starbird. You should look that up sometime. Yeah, it's earlier than I thought. It came out in 1978. So,
Okay.
but my best friend growing up, he had the Starbird and he had the enemy ship, which was called the Starbird Intruder. And I'm not gonna put that down as one I wanted and never got. because I don't know that I ever even asked for that, but I do remember every time I would go to Kenneth's house, like, for for the longest time, it seemed like those were the 2 toys we always ended up with. I and see, I guess I thought of it that was early '80s because the laser tag, because I associate laser tag more with the '80s,
I
but
would too.
not this was the late '70s thing. See, this is something I might have to add on the list and start. Yeah, because Starbird's the name of the line, I'm sorry. The name of the ships, the good guy ship is the Avenger, and the bad guy ship is the Intruder. This is something I might have to keep an eye on when we're out and about.
I'm looking at it right now. I pulled it up while you were chatting, and this thing is awesome, man. I'm gonna watch these YouTube videos about it when we get off, because this, yeah, that
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I could definitely see wanting one of those for certain. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, I found, like, a catalog listing, but it doesn't actually list the price because I'm gotta think this for as heavily electronic as this toy was, I bet this was not cheap back in the day.
No, I can't imagine those were very affordable.
But yeah, that's very cool, but that's
CT
again, not gonna say
is
that's one I never got. I don't think I ever really asked for it, but I love playing with it. And now that now it might be going on my list of things I want.
Yeah, I mean those things are pretty sweet, man. I like that. Uh, man. So I mean, as you know, like my mom and dad were separated, so I would go to my dad's every other weekend. And since he owned a gas station, a lot of the times he couldn't come pick me up. So he would send one of his friends to come pick me up. And the one friend that he would send to pick me up, probably the most, his name was Paul. And inside of Paul's car, he had the Mr. T doll. And
Oh,
I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so I would obviously play with that all the way to my to my dad's and back. And it was definitely one that I asked for, but I never got the Mr. T doll. I did get the A Team Mr. T action figure,
good.
but I never got the Mr. T doll, and that's something that um, I still wish that I had. And I've come across it once in the wild,
You know, is that
and
a doll? Is that the talking doll? Didn't they make a talking one too, where he pulled the string and he did his catchphrases, or was that the 18 Mr. T?
I
I remember this thing like a 12-inch doll or
yeah,
something.
this thing was huge. I don't if he had a string in the back of him, it must have been broke because I don't remember making it talk a whole lot or anything. And
Okay.
honestly, I wouldn't even. That's not even what I would. I would just have him standing there because he used to sit on Paul's like dash of his car, and then Paul, who was a pretty like large guy himself, like had gold chains and he wore the feather earrings and the whole Mr. T. He was literally he thought he was Mr. T. Um,
Uh, yeah.
and
Well, Mr. T was cool.
yeah, and funny enough, like that's who I named my pet monster after because I named him Paul. And so he would always get mad at me, and he's like, "You think I'm ugly?" It's every time he would see me with my pet monster. So yeah, that's good stuff, man. That's definitely one that's on my list.
Yeah, that's great. What did you what did you did you get anything really cool this Christmas? I mean, we were together this Christmas, but I don't know. What was like one of the cooler things you got this year?
I
And
mean,
you
the
know what I'm gonna say mine is.
I mean, I got the hand crush to go with the my pet monster, which is pretty awesome. And then I really like it. You got me, man. Those Marks figures. Ever since that night we found those at Nerd Bombers, I've kind of been addicted to them.
Yeah.
And now I have a full run of one color instead of like different multicolored ones, and they look amazing. And just learning about the history and how the molds were made and how people have bootlegged the molds and just all of the history behind them is pretty awesome. And then every time I listen to an episode of the monsters that made us, and they're talking about one of those guys in particular, it's just I don't know, man. It's just extra special. Those things are pretty
Yeah,
amazing. So that's
you
definitely
those
top of my
Mark
list.
figures. those Marx figures are amazing. Uh, I'm kind of getting addicted to them too. I have a set of the Universal monsters in the same color that you have. Um, I need the thing I wanna start getting the Marvel figures. I definitely want a full collection. I really don't know if I have to have one of every color, but I definitely would love to have one of each of the figures because those are so cool. Those are so cool. Um, but yeah, actually, and you gave me one of my favorite gifts this year with the Superman match game from was that Milton Bradley or Mattel? I forget.
Or Ideal, maybe.
I think it was Mattel.
Was it Mattel? Okay.
It was Mattel, and, just the art on the tiles is worth it. I love that it's complete. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out now is how to display it because I actually wanna display the board, but the way the tiles are designed so that you can swap them around, like, if you tilt that thing too far, they're gonna be all over the floor. So
Yeah, I mean, that's a real unique toy, man. I was pretty excited when I ran across that at Lost in Time. That one guy, I wish I knew who that was because I would keep in touch with him like 24/7 about new stuff that he gets in because that's the first place I go because that's where I've found the majority of my things is there. And
is it the
so
guy right as you walk in the door at
no, it's hey, remember when we went back and you had
Oh,
found
I do. I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, that little nook there it's just gold, man, and the person that runs that gets in very very good stuff, and his stuff is usually top notch. I'll be honest with you, I think the Superman color forms came from there too.
mm.
Um, because
Yeah, the
yeah,
color form sets, both the Star Trek and the Superman color forms, those are amazing, but that tile game, just that's gotta get, like, an A plus just for finding it with all the tiles, because 'cause I've got to imagine, unless you're finding it still sealed in the box, I gotta imagine that there are a lot of those out there that are missing at least some of the tiles.
yeah, I haven't even looked up like, the game and, like, what the game is about. I was just so excited that it had all the stuff inside, and I was really excited about the art because I don't know, the
Oh, yeah.
Batman in there just seems so old.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's like it's kind of a golden age-ish Batman, where his ears look almost more like horns than ears, and, that's a good yeah, all the art. I mean, that's the thing, we sat there just looking at all the different tiles. It is great, and that's why I'm trying like I said, I was actually thinking I might try to find, like or have a piece of plexiglass cut that's the same size that would fit into it to keep all the tiles flat so that I could kinda display it on a wall or something. I gotta figure that out. I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna happen yet, but for now, it's still safely in the box, ready to go into the comic book room.
yeah, I was excited, man. I half-heartedly joking that that was one that I wanted to keep, but that was definitely one that that is one of the ones that's like, man, like I am super jealous because it's just awesome, man. I would be the opposite. I would probably end up playing it a lot. Maybe we can find another one that we can keep and
To
play
play, yeah,
because I
yeah,
mean, I know I'm old, but a match game is not. I'm not above a match game at all.
yeah, yeah. Well, and Laura, for Christmas, she gave me a, set of the Time Life Enchanted World books, and that is I remember the commercials on TV for that series of books, and I remember seeing them. Our school library had a lot of the Time Life book sets. I've told you before, I'm looking for a full set of the World War II series because I think I checked those out in middle school. Oh God, I don't know. It's I I can't even remember how many times I probably read through. I got in trouble for reading Time Life World War II books in my geometry class in 7th grade. So I love those books. But I remember The Enchanted World, and now, especially, years after years of playing Dungeons and Dragons and everything, I love these books because they cover everything from vampires to dragons to Arthurian legend. It was great, and so I love it. This set is almost perfect too. Like the spines, they don't even look like they've ever been opened.
There's gotta be one in there about Loch Ness and Bigfoot and all that too. I'd love
There
to look
is
at that
there
one.
is one on creatures. I forget the title, what they specific. I think it's called Mythic Creatures. Um, but yeah, it's got Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster. Like they have completely separate volumes for ghosts, uh, vampires, things like that. But then they do have a volume that covers like Bigfoot and other what we would call cryptids today. I don't even know if that word existed in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know when the whole cryptid thing came around. I'm sure Cliff and Bobo have mentioned that on their podcast, the Bigfoot podcast I listen to at some point. I know they've mentioned the origin of that word at some point or other. I just that's not something I stored away in
Yeah.
my mind. Yeah, man, we've talked about this a lot. You had I mean, I gotta admit, man, I thought I had a cool library, but every time I find a book or something and I send it to you or I buy it for you, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I remember checking that out at my library because those Star
Well,
Trek
and
books."
and when I say library, that's probably across 3 different schools because the Star Trek book that you're referencing, that one I remember checking out in elementary school a lot. Yeah, because they had, like, a whole series of books. Because when you first mentioned those Crestwood monster books, I don't remember those exactly, but the theme of that reminds me of those because the Star Trek book was one of a series of books that was like behind the scenes of Star Trek or um, other TV shows, things like that. And so I actually was even wondering if Crestwood had done a series of those kinds of books because it seemed so similar, but I can't find any evidence that it was.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, those Crestwoods, I don't think I ever asked for them for Christmas, but that's definitely on my must-find list. That's way up there for me right now. I would love to find those. You know, I would love to find the main Universal monsters, obviously, and that's gonna be really hard to do without paying a fortune.
Yeah. Well, I
But
told you I found there's a guy on eBay selling a full set of those, and I'm like, "Ugh, not for that price," but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And I've we've talked about this a lot. I don't know if I had just loads of cash. I don't think it would be as exciting. I
no,
think,
right, yeah.
you know, just to be able to you just get it whenever you want it is kind of boring. But like, you know, rolling around and searching and the finding of things is pretty awesome.
No,
That's
I agree, I agree. I mean, I do, clearly, I buy things off eBay, but I would much rather find them out in the wild somewhere. Like, it's always much more exciting to go to a toy show or go to Goodwill or go to, um, a yard sale or go to a flea market and find something really cool than it is just looking it up on eBay, buying it, and it's arrives on your doorstep. Now, that being said, I mean, there are things where I'm like, "Oh, I really want this," or because the hard thing is, like, especially with comic collecting, a lot of times there are things where I would like where it's a series or a mini series, and there are times when it's easy to just find the complete set of it online and then buy it and then get it. And not just online, but the local comic stores around here, like Sailfish in Greensboro and Acme Comics in Greensboro, they're both great about doing complete sets, especially for limited series, or they'll do a run. Like if it's an ongoing series, they'll put together bag sets for a particular storyline. And I love going there and buying those. So sometimes it's just easier to do that when you wanna get a complete run so you can read the whole thing as opposed to and especially a lot of the stuff I really like now, like a lot of the late '70s, early '80s obscure stuff, um, you just don't run across it unless you're going to a old school comic convention where there are some I'm just gonna say it's some really old dealers there. You you just don't find a lot of the newer dealers just don't carry stuff kinda that old anymore, or at least a lot of it.
Yeah, I know every time we go to the toy show and there's that one comic book guy you love so much, I go
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there.
he
I
wasn't there at the last show.
I know I'm a little worried about that because
Yeah.
he was getting on up there, but
Yeah,
I
he's like 80, I think he was like 85 when I last time I talked to him.
yeah, but every
He's
time I ask him
great.
for Sherlock Holmes, he doesn't. I mean, he might have a couple from the Cumberbatch era, but he never has any of the old stuff. And he said, your best bet, and all the comic book shops tell me your best bet's just to get off of eBay. And I've never really sat down and got on eBay and looked up, runs of Sherlock Holmes. And I'm sure there's probably not a ton of them out there anyway. It's just fun to find. It's fun to find them when I do, and I take them home. So, but
Well,
it's good.
you found that one DC, uh, one from the '70s, right? You found that at McKay's?
With Batman on the front. Or oh no, that other one. Yeah, yeah, I
Was
did.
it like, there was a one-shot Sherlock
Yeah,
Holmes.
I did find that and pick that up. Yeah, I remember texting you in the middle of the evening on that one,
Yeah,
asking if I
yeah.
should pick that up. Yeah,
That was
it's
awesome.
just
Yeah, because it actually adapts a, 1 or 2 Arthur Conan Doyle books or stories.
yeah. I think my favorite Sherlock thing that I found is still like, and I say it to you all the time, is that Batman
Yeah.
storybook record. That's just an amazing story. I just want to be able to listen to it for the first time every time because getting to the end of that and the reveal is just so much fun. I just want to be able to relive that over and over, but it's just unfortunately we can't do that.
No, no, you get one of those Men in Black, uh, where you can wipe their memory every time.
I mean, I would use it. I would have one of those. It would be like that Adam Sandler movie where she has to watch a video every morning reminding her of
Oh,
everything that
yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah, 50 First Dates, I think.
Yeah,
That's
just
the
hey man, like you love these things and you wanted to watch it for the first time, so you wiped your memory. So go play these movies and read these books.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, I feel the same way about a lot of things.
Yeah, I know a lot of books that I would love to read again for the first time,
Mm.
and have that feeling that you get when you read it for the first time and you get to the shock of the part or something like that, or the culmination of the processes that are going on in the book and they finally get solved. I just think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Playing games for the first time or the choose your own adventure books after you've read them like 15 times and you know all the paths. It's I don't know, it's kind of a bummer sometimes that you just like, okay, I'm probably not gonna read that again, but it's so good that you wish you could.
Yep, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's and speaking of those, I was just, earlier this evening, I was, bagging up some of those, Choose Your Own Adventure, the TSR books that you gave me the other night, and I didn't realize at the time that they're not all Dungeons and Dragons, and it is so cool because one of the books is Gamma World, one of the books is Star Voyages or Star Journeys. Back in the day, back then when TSR um, wasn't just all Dungeons and Dragons, where Gamma World was like their post-apocalyptic sci-fi, science fantasy role-playing game. One of the books is from Top Secret, which was their spy RPG, and I think Star. I I've already put the books in the living room, getting ready to shelve them, but I think it's Star Voyages, which was their science fiction uh, role playing game. So there, when I was getting to actually look through them today, I'm like, wow, these are. I love it that they're not just all Dungeons and Dragons. Although I do love Dungeons and Dragons, but I thought it was really cool that they were from the different properties that TSR was publishing back in the day. I really miss TSR. I really kind of not a big fan of Wizards of the Coast version of Dungeons and Dragons. I miss TSR.
Yeah, I think of all the I think that Star Trek one is my favorite choose your own adventure that I've ever given you. That one was pretty awesome. It
Yeah.
wasn't even choose. It was like an offshoot of choose your own adventure, but whatever version that one was pretty cool. And then to find out that they had like different things in that, because I think I have the James Bond in the Choose Your Own Adventures that went along with that Star Trek run. And it was just like they didn't do a run of just like one series. It was just like one shots of different properties, which was kind of cool to see. I'll eventually get all those.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think about that would be a cool collecting challenge, would be just to try and collect all of the choose your own adventure. And when I'm saying that, I'm kind of using it the genericized version because, like you said, uh, what are the DC? I know DC Comics has their own version of
Those are
that.
which way, aren't they? Are those which
Which
way
way?
books?
Which way? Some are choose your own path, I think,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah.
Did you check to make sure you had that Batman?
No, I will. I will
Uh,
though.
yeah, because I have three, so if you don't have it, you definitely need one of those three. But if I gave you one, then it'll just stay on the shelf. But yeah, you found the Supergirl, and I've got Superman and Batman. Like I just never see those, and I have talked to some places about those, and they said those don't come up very often, and when they do, number one, they command a pretty decent price, and number two, they don't stay around long. So but I'd happily trade my Thundercats or my GI Joes or the Indiana Jones. I've got some pretty cool uh, choose on adventure books from different things, but or any of the Transformers. I have so many different ones, but I would love to get all of those. And if they made DC, certainly there's got to be some Marvel ones out there somewhere. And I feel like you
Well, I
found a
know.
Thor.
I know Marvel has actually done some recently. I think probably over this past summer, I was at Barnes and Noble and they had a Moon Knight choose your own adventure. I did I not? I thought I texted you with that.
You did. I couldn't remember if it was Moon Knight. I thought you had found a Thor too, but I guess not.
No, I don't think the one I bought was Moon Knight for sure, and I didn't realize when I first picked it up. I was just looking over in the graphic novel section, and it was more like a regular book size than a graphic novel. So I picked it up, and that's when I realized, oh man, this is a choose your own adventure. So, and that was just published this year. So, apparently, I think there is another one. I think there are only two of them right now, or there were at the time, and I think the other one was Black Panther.
Okay.
So, yeah, so they're still. I wouldn't doubt there are some older ones from back in the day, but they're apparently still doing that even today. The TSR ones, they had a cool name for their series, Endless Quest. That's actually I like that one too. But again, the cool thing I didn't realize until tonight when I was actually going through and bagging them is that not it's not all Dungeons and Dragons. One book might be a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Another one is Top Secret. Another one might be Gamma World. That's just I love that. That's why I actually went to the Wikipedia page and was looking that up, and I'm like, I think I'm definitely gonna have to start adding these to my wish list
Oh, I
to start.
see that because yeah, I've got the two those other extras, and one's Star Frontiers and one's Dungeons and Dragons.
Star That
I've
was it.
never
Yeah.
paid any attention to that. I thought they were just all because it has Dungeons and Dragons written on every book.
As they say, because they want you to know, remake Dungeons& and Dragons.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
I was yeah, I have a lot of those and I pick those up as you could tell, I pick them up often. And it's one of those things where they're usually like fairly priced enough that I don't even pay attention to what I have because I think I'm only missing number 10. Now, whatever's after I think 16 or 17 on my shelf, there might be more than that. But it's one of those things I just keep picking up. So yeah, definitely make a list of what you have and
Well, it
as
it looks like the first series went all the way up to number 36,
okay.
and
I'll
then
have
they
to.
did another series called Crimson Crystal Adventures that only has 4 books. And then there is a second series that picks up at number 37 and runs through number 49.
Yeah, I'm way behind this.
Oh, yeah, no. But hey, yeah, this is apparently they tried to revive it fairly recently. I guess Wizards of the Coast did in 2018 because there's a short series then it's only got 6 books in it, but they were all published in 2018 and 2019. So definitely have to keep I definitely want to keep an eye on those because one of them is set in Ravenloft. So, which is the Dungeons and Dragons, like, gothic horror, Strahd is the main villain, the big bad of that whole world, and he's essentially their version of Count Dracula.
You got a few of those at that bookstore in like Wisconsin or something, right?
Yes. Yeah, one of those is but see, those are ones from the '80s,
Okay.
and,
Okay.
uh, and those are not part of Endless Quest. That's actually from another series, that they did called Fighting Fantasy, which are actually little role-playing game books.
Yeah, I've got maybe 10 of those where you have to create your character before you
Yes.
begin the book.
Yeah, yeah.
And and I don't, I mean, obviously I don't fill out the pages in the book, but like I might make a copy of that or something and write it down. And I had a really good time with the one. I knew we were going to be stuck in the house a lot at the beach. And so I took that down there and, took some dice with me and I had a good time, man. It was a lot of fun. I mean, those are definitely interesting books. I wish they would do more stuff like that.
Yeah, I would love to see them, do a revival
Oh, it's
of like a choose
just
your own adventure. You know what? I was just thinking of this too. You were talking about you wonder if anyone did a choose your own adventure Marvel. Actually, back in the '80s, TSR actually had the license for Marvel superheroes because they published a Marvel superheroes role playing game. I wonder I wonder if they did any of these books, like the Endless Quest books that are set that might be Marvel related.
I don't know. I mean,
I'll have to do a little more research into that. That's a possibility. That would be cool. That would be possible because I think the last time we went when we were at the Winston-Salem toy show earlier this year, there was a guy I ended up buying some, like, Dungeons& and Dragons, like, I bought a Dungeon Master's Guide, a Player's
that
Handbook,
nothing we got.
1st edition,
That is
uh
he's sorry.
Player's Handbook,
GC
Dungeon
Bill
Master Guide,
Armills
and,
38 ain't
Monster
sending
Manual.
what is up.
Um,
He always said that each day is
but
more
the
than
guy
and
also
the work for
had
email.
an unopened box of miniatures for the TSR Marvel role-playing game. I didn't buy those, kinda regret it, but I would love to find, like, a box set, like the actual RPG box set for the
yeah.
Marvel superheroes. Um, don't know how expensive that would be to find. I know the Mayfair DC role-playing game, like a first edition one of those box sets can be kind of pricey. Uh, but I don't know how expensive. But now that we're talking about it, I don't remember. That's another thing, kind of like the Daggett figure. I don't see a lot of TSR like Marvel superhero stuff at shows.
So while you were chatting, I just did a quick search, and there are some. Marvel superheroes adventure game books that require dice.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
there's Spidey, Captain America, Wolverine, Doctor Strange, The Thing, another Spider-Man, X-Men, and then Daredevil is the 8 that I'm looking at right now, and they look unbelievably awesome.
Okay,
Like,
cool. Well,
it's
you have to send me the link to that. I'll have to
yes.
check that out because, yeah, see, now just add that to the list because I'm still trying to finish a run on those Marvel novels. You remember at Half Price Books, I found
Yeah.
those Marvel novels. I want to find more of those. I definitely want to find, and I think I think I've actually looked that up before. That's a fairly limited thing. Like I think there are only about 10 of them altogether of those
Huh.
books. So that's definitely doable. That's definitely doable.
Well, I mean, I know I have that Spider-Man. If that gets you over the hedge on the collection, man, we could definitely get that to you because then I could start over because I just have one. I have the Spider-Man one. It's in immaculate condition too. I don't think it's ever been read.
Yep.
Um,
Well, yeah,
but
I'll check the ones I have and yeah, we'll see what we can work out.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean,
I hate to feel like every time I come to your house I'm raiding your
no,
house.
man, like no, like I said, I mean, like it really is. And if there was some way, and I would love to get this on the YouTube channel at some point, I would just if we had enough, of a following, and I knew what people liked, and they were interactive enough, and I knew that there were people that liked certain things, and if I, obviously I'm not. I mean, I'm a teacher. I'm not rich or anything, but like if I find something and it's like a ridiculous deal, like it makes me happier to get it to the person that is going to treasure it. It makes me so much happier to do that than I mean, I love the finding of it, and then I
We're
like to
we're
get it to the person that's really going to treasure and enjoy it. I mean,
Yo, I definitely, hey, I appreciate it, and I think that as our channel grows and then now with the podcast, I definitely think there's a way, we're gonna have to put our heads together, and think of like I don't know whether it would be a Facebook group or some kind of group where people could maybe post up things they're looking for or they would love to find, and if you find it then you work out how to, how to get it to them or how to, if because that's the other thing. I watch a lot of YouTube videos of people that are, in other states across the country, that and that go to a lot of yard sales and flea markets, and it never fails that they're always seeing things at these in a lot of cases, they're not it's something they're only just showing because they're passing the camera over the table, and I will see things that, "Oh, if I was there, I would probably at least look at that, if not buy it, depending on the price." And so it's one of those things where I'd love to build it'd be cool if there was this network of people that are, like, out toy hunting or comic hunting or other things, and you're like, "Hey, I'm not into this," but other people can say, "I'm into this. If you ever run across this, we can work out a deal for you to, if you could pick it up and send it to me, I'll pay you for it," that kind of thing. That'd be a great network to build.
it would be, man. I mean, because there's just, I mean, there's a lot of things that I have, and it's like it's cool to have them. But if somebody had some old, like I don't know, the Nord from Domino's, like that's
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
I would love to collect more of that stuff. And again, that's another thing I don't see. I see those California raisins everywhere, but like the Noid, very, very rarely, and I pick it up every time I see it, and it's usually not super expensive because it's just wasn't like a very popular um, person at the time, a spokesperson for them, and so I would happily trade some of the things that I find for that if somebody wanted to. But yeah, maybe that's something we could think about, and if we can ever get the channel up and off the ground, I just got to stop being lazy after school and get some recordings done,
No,
man.
I look at it this way. I don't I we enjoy it's kind of like with the collecting in general. I don't, yeah, I want the channel to grow. I want us uh to do these kinds of things, but we both have day jobs. We have to keep things going. The we just came through the holiday season. I look at it this way: when I have something interesting to talk about or to record, I'll do it. Otherwise, it starts becoming I don't need another job. You know what I mean? I don't need this to become a job. I don't want to start dreading doing it. So I've kind of come to that conclusion that as I do, if I have something interesting to shoot or to talk about, I'm gonna do it. Like I do have a video that I'm working on right now about dollar store toys because over the years, you know, I go to dollar stores all the time, Dollar General, Dollar Tree,
Like,
Five
ain't
Below. I
no
know
better
that's not a
meat
dollar store
in a
technically, but
different heat.
all these
Just
places that all sell toys,
see.
and it's interesting the stuff you can find there. They're usually really cheap, and sometimes I question whether they're even licensed in some cases,
No,
but
some of that
uh,
stuff's not
yeah,
licensed for certain.
and so but I always pick it up because it's cheap, and I've accumulated a box full of dollar store toys, and so I thought, that's an interesting video. That's something I don't see people talking about online a lot or whatever. So I'm just gonna go through it because they're all like different things: Transformers, superheroes, um, other sci-fi property, Star Wars. I think there's some Star Wars stuff in there. So I'm like, this is interesting. So I'm just going to shoot a video on that. But hey, it's going to take me a little time because, like you've got school during the day, and then you have the family. You got to get everything taken care of. Same here. I've got stuff to do, and it just doesn't. I'm just not ready to jump. To fire at the camera every night. So I just look at it this way, I'm gonna get it done when I get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta I mean, I have the initial footage of that Marks Hall, and now I've gotta, like we said, kind of break that into its separate parts and then do the filming of each individual figure, and then the giant receipt, and then get
Yeah.
all that get
Yeah,
all
that
that.
is wild. That
Yeah.
find case is wild.
Yeah, it's a definitely, that's an insane find that will probably nothing like that. I mean, I don't wanna say nothing like that because Cassandra went in there and found all those GI Joes that day, so you just never know what you're gonna find.
Yep.
But, it's I think Froggy did a good job with it. Not Froggy, Retro Slacker did a good job where he was like, "I'm gonna show you what really happens." Like, we typically don't find all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we find some things, and so, that we're just out a lot, and and again, I mean, if you do go out a lot, the odds of you finding things are a little higher, so, I mean, I stopped by at a couple places on the way home today, and I mean, I went into a toy store. I went to Nerd Merchants, and I didn't find anything that I wanted. I don't think there was anything that I even picked up and considered. And then
Yeah.
I went to an antique store, and there were a couple of things in there, that I picked up, but I just put them back because it wasn't something that I really had to have or needed at the moment, so, and then I came on home, so, I mean, that'd be a very boring video.
No, same thing. That's happened to me the last time I went to Nerd Bombers. Great store. They have a great selection, but I just didn't find anything that was hitting me, and I think I've already cleared them out of all the Galoob Star Trek: The Next Generation figures they had, and they haven't gotten any more in. Actually, McKay's has been my best one lately for that. I usually find at least one carded Galoob Next Generation figure that I don't have there, so I'm hoping that keeps up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do have a pretty wide variety of Star Wars stuff in there. They get in a lot. Or not Star Wars, Star Trek, my bad. But yeah, they get in. I mean, there's people selling stuff there often, and you just have to go in and
Yeah.
hopefully you get a good deal on it.
Yeah, I wish there was still one in Greensboro, they got rid of their Greensboro store and moved it to Medben because, when I do go into the office where I work, it would actually be really close for me to have jumped on the highway and hit Battleground Avenue in Greensboro and been right at the McKays right there. But with I still don't. I mean, they have the reasons, I'm sure, and that store in Mebane is beautiful. But I still wish they had kept the Greensboro store.
I miss the Greensboro store too. I it maybe could have changed locations there towards the end because it was getting a little wild over there.
Oh yeah,
But
the traffic is crazy over there, and trying to get in and out of that parking lot. It was a real narrow parking lot. Um, I could see that. I would, maybe they'll open one back in Greensboro sometime soon. Hopefully, it'll be near Battleground where it was, because as I said, that's about a 10-minute drive from where I work. So I would like, and Nerd Bombers is pretty close based from where I work too. So um, I try to get over there at least once a month just to see, because they're always buying collections and stuff too. So you never know what new stuff they're gonna have.
yeah, I have often thought if I should go over there and sell some of those things that I've gotten, like super cheap before, that are just kind of sitting around, and just kind of get it out of the way. If it doesn't move at some of the toy shows that I go to. But I I I don't know that I necessarily want to pay for an antique store, or anything like that, because I feel like that's probably rather expensive, and or they never call you back like they did you. Um,
Yeah, yeah, when you
you
try to
know,
get a booth. And
yeah,
I'll be honest, you're not there keeping an eye on it all the time, so
nah,
I would worry about theft and things like that. I know
yeah.
that is a problem.
I mean, I feel like that's all I see from Keymaster is people stealing stuff, and
Yeah.
that would just be a bummer, man. I don't have enough inventory for people to be stealing stuff and me just kind of be like, okay, whatever. You
Right,
know,
exactly. That's why I still think those, the nerd swap meets are probably one of the best way if you wanted to get rid of, especially the Marks, extra Marks figures, or the ones you're not interested in. I'd probably do it there. Because you're probably gonna find somebody. You got your best chance of finding somebody, and even if it wasn't a cash purchase, they may have something you'd rather have instead. So I
oh yeah,
still
I
think
mean,
that's the best bet.
if somebody said I've got a Ghostbusters firehouse, like, I mean, I'm not even going to go through the box. I'm just
Figure.
driving over there.
Yeah, or a Daggett action figure.
I don't know if I'll give them all up for a Daggett, but I'd give up a few of them. I mean, there's like, I'm like split, man. I'm torn between, like you said, finding a spot and just actually displaying all of those to be like, you're never going to
Yep.
believe what I found. But then on the other side, like, I mean, they're not cheap. And if somebody wanted to give me enough, then I can go out and buy toys that I really, really want, then that would be fine too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like the I I some of those are so rare. Oh, I won't I won't say rare, because I don't know how rare they are, but some of those you just don't see enough that I'm like, "Yeah, I think you should get you another IKEA glass case, dedicate a shelf to each theme of, Marx figures," whether it's knights or cowboys and Indians, monsters, Marvel, all of that, and just display them, 'cause, they're really pretty to look at, especially when you have the nice mix of colors.
Yeah. I mean, I got to go back to what you said, man. Like, at first, I thought if I can just get one of each of those Marvel figures or the monster figures, I would be fine. And
But
now
nah.
that I see people with like all blue collections and all red collections and all green, it's like, God, those are really sick. So
S
I'm not gonna stop buying them. I'm gonna keep
No,
buying them.
yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with you.
I'm not gonna pay $45 for Spider-Man at Nerd Bombers, but like that first purchase of that Hulk, that sent me down a rabbit hole I was not prepared for. Because I mean, I feel like we went back to your place and watched videos about Marks that night,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
and
we
had
went
a
to that
great
one
time.
guy we went to the one guy who did the deep dive into the Marx, monster figures.
Yeah, then it was over.
Wow.
We
Yeah,
didn't even know those were around. It's like, oh yeah, we have to have all of those.
yeah.
So, and it took a while. Think about how long it took us to find those. That was not a short amount of time to come across all of those figures.
No,
Because
yeah.
I mean, I know that I have 3 Frankensteins now, but I had found a Frankenstein, um, by his lonesome a while back, and, you know, I didn't think I would ever find another thing like that, and then, I hit that super score, but it is what it is. Well, listen, man, we're about an hour, man. I don't know if anybody wants to listen to us yammer on more than that other than me and you.
Hey,
So
man. Yeah, it's been fun. Well, I guess we're gonna find out whether they want to or not. But either way, I mean, we're still gonna I enjoyed this. We're gonna try to keep it up. I think our plan is to try and release one every week.
we'll do our best. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so I
All right,
hope
man.
I hope everyone's enjoyed it, and I guess we'll talk to you next time.
All right, take it easy, man. Later.
Later. Bye.